Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to a very special Wednesday video. Lots of effort's going to be put into this one, especially from the topic, which is an important topic that I have been asked a few questions on, and that really boils down to the boosts, the soul boosts. Are they actually worth getting? And if you were to apply them and use them, what kind of champions work well with them? A lot of you know that the boosts are only applicable to use in the Hades invasions, and how they really work from an acquisition point of view is you go into your limbo quests, you then grind through and grab your souls, spend the souls in the store that we've just seen, and then you're able to use them from the respective different types of difficulties and things that you're able to grind in this particular quest. On the various quests, you're only able to take in 3 champions, so your champion usage has to be very important. And well, the different types of paths you unlock with the various keys are going to be the key to the types of interactions you're going to have. Now, there are 2 ways to play out this quest. Either number 1, you use boosts and therefore you have champions that interact with said boosts. Going on a bleed path and you want to use your Dr. Doom, who isn't a bleed immune champion, but you're making your attacker bleed immune. Unfortunately, this does mean whenever a bleed fails to apply attacker due to an immunity, the defender gains a 20% of a bar of power. This boost obviously can only be used in Hades invasion. So that's the thing. You then give a positive effect to the defender. So there are risks in order to doing this. But here's the thing, there are some really fun interactions. Like Soul of Envy, where you give the defender a chance that they'll get an unstoppable buff. Now that's really good if you've got a Beardo. So if you're using a Captain America Infinity War, then the champion has that kinetic charge, which means that he's able to nullify those unstoppable effects. And the same thing can be an example with Dr. Doom with Stagger. So you'd create Dr. Doom as a poison immune champion, but able to go against contact and Stagger, which means that it's going to suppress that unstoppable buff coming up. So yes, in theory, you are able to use your favorite champion, but it's all about thinking strategically and boxing clever, which I like saying, like boxing clever. It just basically means that you have to then look at the situation and then apply some strategy to the situation. Like, as I said, go on a poison immune path, or go on a poison path with the poison immune buff put on. And as well, if you're giving the enemy an unstoppable buff, then look to champions that do things like the slow debuff as well, like She-Hulk, like Stealth Suit Spidey, like various different champions that have those debuffs. It's all about, again, being strategic. More information on these souls, you can find them on the forums. I put a link in the description to the According to Hades forum post, which does showcase a lot of this stuff. To give you an example, and we'll go through this now. Soul of Wrath is all about being immune to Incinerate. Soul of Sloth is all about being immune to Cold Snap. Soul of Envy is about poison, which we've learnt about. Soul of Pride, the attacker is immune to bleed. Soul of Greed, the attacker is immune to shock. Now, this does lead to some creations of some effective or interesting counters if you are going to get the buff side of things or the boost side of things. But there will be another narrative that we'll talk about in a moment. Now, I've put on screen some examples of counters. So Soul of Wrath, I don't think there's anything really can be done with this. If the enemy's going to get a passive fury, then you can't nullify it, you can't deal with it. So ride it out. Have a high block proficiency champion, if that's the case, if you are indeed going to choose those boosts. Soul of Sloth, true strike champions to deal with the evade. Venom, Corvus, She-Hulk, Stealthy, Apocalypse, they all work to suppress the ability of evade or kind of interact with it if it's something going to be of a problem point for you. Same thing with Soul of Envy, slow debuff again applies well and helps out for situations like this to suppress unstoppable. And champs that do that or kind of like deal with that are Beardo, so Captain America Infinity War. Stagger debuff as well works with Dr. Doom. There are many other examples. I'm just saying, like, you know, there's 2 key examples there, Beardo and as well Dr. Doom. You then got Soul of Pride, power control champions, Dr. Doom, Psylocke, Hawkeye, quick power control off the SP1. Not the only champions out there that do that, are many others, but I'm just giving you ones that maybe people have, especially ones that maybe people have ranked up. Soul of Greed, Beardo, Petrify, Void, Petrify, MODOK, SP1, dealing with regeneration on the part of enemies. But again, this is one of these situations of going, do I really need to add these boosts? And that's where we're going to go with in the next part. So first part was if you are choosing to use those boosts. The second part is using champion immunities to play to your advantage. So what I'm going to do in this video is just talk about the various different paths or nodes that you're going to see and effective counters to deal with them, because that's another thing. Preparation is 100% important, and down below, as I usually do, I will do like a quick pop-up that comes with a whole list of immunities. And also shout out to Marvel Truecos, where we've got information of immunities. I will be referring back to this, but as well, a lot of the stuff for the video has taken information from this here. There's also some added ones from, say, the new lot. I'm not 100% sure of when this is from. It looks like this is back in early January, so I'm sure there will be an updated version, especially with the newer champions added in. But let's assume that everybody has a large amount of these champions based on the fact this has been since, you know, several months. So this has been since like 10 months ago. You kind of go like, a lot of people must have these champions as opposed to some of the new ones. Right, so kicking things off is energy adoption. This is you getting an incinerate debuff. And this is the point of using different champions. And again, as I reiterated, this is the immunity side of things. Part 1 of this video was if you choose to use the boost. Part 2 is immunity champions to deal with this particular scenario. And this will go through various different quests. You'll see energy adoption. So champions to counteract this, they're down below. But yeah, we're looking with Human Torch, Mephisto, Iceman, Red Goblin, Ghost Rider, Red Hulk, Black Widow, Clairvoyant, and that's on the rotation to get to the incinerate side of things. Void, Havoc, Vulture, Night Thrasher, and Sunspot. Now, there will be synergy setups, but I'm choosing not to do that. And the reason, even though that I've got on screen me using a synergy setup there with Warlock and as well the classic Ultron, is that you will go against different bosses, which is going to create the issue. Your setup is going to have to like deal with that big boss, regardless of what it is. And a particular one champion may be the key one. You go, okay, I'm setting this up as the boss killer. And do bear in mind, I'm probably doing at some point like how to interact with these bosses. At the moment, it's all about using champions to build up the champion to SP1, kind of then evade back, rinse and repeat. Whilst the champions oscillate in armor, then go and hit into the block of Kingpin, then draw yourself back, wait till the enemy throws the SP1, or you can just do loads of intercepts. It's up to you how you chase this champion and do the countering of this. Okay, now we're on to Caltrops, which is if you swipe back, you get a bleed effect on you. Can be really helpful as well if you've got debuff effects, and it's like Ghost could be an option for this. Now do bear in mind, there's probably people screaming at you going, you can use Ghost for this. Great, yeah. I'm just going to name off a few other champions as well, because that's other options. Black Widow, Clairvoyant, Iceman, Mephisto, Warlock, all the Ultrons and robots, you know, Guillotine 2099, Dormammu, Man-Thing, Morningstar, Thing, Colossus, King Groot, Luke Cage. All down below as options that take on this. And again, do bear in mind synergy creations, and it could be really cool to have like the likes of Red Guardian with that Abomination synergy for the Poison one. You know, there's so many different options there of creation. But look, let's face it, there are many options to take on the likes of this, especially with Caltrops. As well, you've got to prepare yourself for the end boss and how you end up playing that one, especially with Oscillate. Next up, we've got Energy Adoption Ice. There's not a huge amount of champions that deal with Cold Snap, but there's still a good amount in order to make yourself feel validated that you're not going to lose. You have got Corvus, Human Torch, Colossus, Mephisto, Emma Frost, and Iron Man Infinity War. There's a bit of iffy ones there. That's part of the ability of creation of things like armor or diamond form, different things like that. Warlock, Sabretooth Annihilus, and Silver Surfer. Do bear in mind as well, there isn't a huge amount of champion options for Cold Snap immunity, but there are amongst a few. I would also recommend, if you are thinking of doing Warlock, is to do the robot synergy. So anytime you get a debuff you're immune to, and with a quadruple immunity of having Warlock, it does mean you'll get a Fury buff, which is actually really nice to put in an extra bit of damage, and it's kind of tasty. Next up is Energy Adoption Lightning. This is good, but again, there are problems with interactions with lightning and as well shock effects. I should really say shock effects. So straight up, there's some great ones. Corvus Glaive, Silver Surfer, Doctor Doom. There's Korg, there's Thing, Electro, some of the Thors and Storm. Do bear in mind, some of those won't be full immunities, but still, if you are not planning to use the boost, then it's going to be applicable to use those relevant champions. Personally, I like the idea of Corvus Glaive, especially if you're going to be building stuff up. And with this champion here doing like evades, again, you're going to face off against champions that have certain things for ticking off missions, number one, or they could be just good interactions and as well, you know, good options for damage output. So do bear that in mind when doing this. Now here comes the options of using the boosts, or it's going to be a case, as I said, immunities all the way. And I would say that would be for the best, especially going up against a lot of interactions with throwing specials. If you're choosing to go, right, well, I'm just going to put a champion that throws a lot of special attacks and then takes those poison debuffs off, I think it's a very risky way of doing it. So maybe immunities all the way. And if you are looking for that, then definitely go for these following options: Black Widow, Clairvoyant, Iceman, Mephisto, Warlock, all Ultrons and Robots, Dormammu, Ronan, Black Bolt, Medusa, Hyperion, She-Hulk, Red Hulk, Hulk, Gladiator Hulk, and all the Captain Marvels. As all of these nodes are present in the second week, which dropped a couple of days ago, and as well will be in the subsequent weeks, it's important to prepare for these things. And this video does give you options as to best counters for this. From the boss's perspective, these again vary, but I would say if you know the best counters yourself, going, okay, well, let's take a mutant against the Kingpin fight, or with this one, as a lot of people know, you can get a very nice Captain America Infinity War interactions. You know, any champion, I'm just playing a champion, just don't hit off the prompts that the enemy does, then you'll be able to do this quite easily. But I would say look for class advantages all the way, and as well look to certain things like immunities and just understanding the champion. Keep a lot of bosses to SP1s, but if I can, you know, I'll put out a video about how to interact and how to take down these bosses. But I would say this is all about preparing yourself with options. Do I do boosts, or do I do immunities? And there we go, that has been the video. Hope it helped out players understand, is it worth actually going to use these boosts? In some ways, yes, and some ways, no. If you click to the various different parts of options, then you've got your decision. And I can't force you to make that decision. I can just inform you of options that you have at your disposal. In any case, thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure to check out the Discord where I've done a full write-up of this, and as well check out some recent content up there. And I'll see you for the live stream later on tonight, and as well on Rich's Realm where I do my Marvel Realm of Champions content. Thank you and goodbye.